Welcome to the 7th arrondissement of Paris, home to the city's most iconic landmark. But the 7th arrondissement also has so much more to offer.
The area is rich in political and military history and is filled with some incredible monuments like the gold-domed Invalides where Napoleon's buried.
The 7th is also rich, period. It's home to France's upper class and has been for centuries, and this opulence is reflected in its many mansions that now house embassies and museums.
Join us as we explore the 7e arrondissement de Paris. The history of the 7th arrondissement has been linked to the French military for centuries.
The massive Champ de Mars Park, located right in front of the Eiffel Tower, was originally built for military skirmishes and named after the Roman god of war. It's located right next to France's iconic military school, the École Militaire.
The École Militaire was built in the 18th century by King Louis XV, and one of its most famous students was a young soldier from Corsica named Napoleon Bonaparte.
You can actually visit Napoleon's tomb right inside the dome of the 350-year-old military hospital, Les Invalides. And this is one of many fun facts about France's most famous emperor. Military genius who brought France grandeur and glory, or racist warmongering tyrant with blood on his hands. More than 200 years after his death, Napoleon's loaded legacy continues to divide France. Love him or hate him, Napoleon Bonaparte was one of France's great leaders, even though at times it seems like he's mostly remembered for his diminutive height, even lending his name to a complex attributed to overly aggressive people of small stature. It turns out, though, he wasn't that short. He was about 1.68 m or about 5'5", which was average height for his time. Like many larger-than-life characters, rumors run wild about Napoleon. He was apparently tone-deaf, but loved to sing, afraid of cats, and loved hot baths, which allegedly provided relief from his painful hemorrhoids. The man who famously crowned himself also wrote a romance novel before becoming emperor. And at the height of his powers, he apparently would disguise himself to find out what the everyday man really thought about him. Napoleon Bonaparte contributed massively to the modern state. He also made a mark in fashion, changing how people dressed at the time. Out with elaborate powdered wigs and knee breeches, in with simpler military-style clothing. For someone who came out of nowhere to make it to the top, the legend of Napoleon lives on. We're here in the gardens of one of the most beautiful museums in the 7th arrondissement, the Musée Rodin, and we're here with tour guide Louise Baudouin. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit about Auguste Rodin. Who was he?
Well, Auguste Rodin was one of France's most famous sculptors. He was mostly renowned to be the inventor of modern sculpture at the end of the 19th century. His most famous work is The Thinker, who is just behind us. He was actually at first a part of Rodin's life work, Gate of Hell, and was meant to represent either Dante or Rodin himself, and was then named the poet. Rodin's work has always been very controversial at first, but at the beginning of the 20th century, he was internationally renowned because his work was exposed in Paris at the International World Fair and then bought all around the world. So now he's famous all around the world, and we are in his museum in Paris.
And Rodin actually lived in the 7th arrondissement, right there in that giant mansion that now houses his museum.
Yes, exactly. He actually rented the house from the state when the house was really falling apart. He lived there with several other artists like Matisse, Isadora Duncan, and Cocteau. And the state wanted to destroy the house, and then Rodin made a deal with the state saying he would offer all his work to the state in exchange of the state repairing the building and opening it at the Rodin Museum. So the state agreed, and it's been repaired and open as a Rodin Museum ever since.
And these days, the 7th arrondissement is a very popular destination for foreigners, particularly Americans. Why is it such a magnet for expats?
Well, it's actually because of the history of the 7th. In the 7th, all of the noble built their houses, private mansions like these ones. And after the revolution, they fled, and the state reclaimed the houses and changed it, used them as embassies and ministries. So the 7th is still very political today. You have Matignon, the house of the prime minister. You have the National Assembly, and the HQ of international organization like UNESCO in the 7th.
And does anyone know why there's so many American things in the 7th? There's the American University, the American Library, the American Church.
Well, we don't really know why. We know we have all of these organizations that really connect the Americans to the 7th. It's actually one of the safest arrondissements, so Americans love it. Here, it's very beautiful, and it's a good place for shopping too, so it's very nice here.
And you're actually going to take us to Paris's very first department store.
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Let's take it up.
Let's go.
So here we are at Le Bon Marché, Paris' first department store, which opened in 1869. Le Bon Marché actually means a good deal, but also a great market, like a place you can find everything. It was actually the idea behind the creators' foundation of this place, where to have like a perfect shopping experience. So they created a lot of innovations to have the best shopping feeling. So you had bathrooms, you had reading cabinets for the husbands to wait during their wife were doing shopping, and games for kids and everything. And so today it's still like this. All of the luxury brands that do not have a shop in the 7th have a stand in the Bon Marché. It's also a place where you have exhibitions, and the showcases outside are always a spectacle. They're changing every season, and especially at Christmas, it's amazing.
The Christmas lights are incredible here. And the Bon Marché is even the reason behind one of the most historic hotels in Paris.
Yeah, just the other side of the street.
Let's go.
We are now in front of the Lutesia, the only palace of the left bank, and it has been created by Marguerite Boussicot, the founder of Le Bon Marché, to house her rich clients when they would come to do shopping. So it's very close to one another. It was actually very popular among artists too. So some people like Pablo Picasso, Peggy Guggenheim, Josephine Baker have lived there, and some of them decorated some suites too. So it's very beautiful inside. During the World War II, it was occupied by the Nazi counter-espionage HQ. And after this, it was a center for the refugees from the concentration camps. And so the families would come here and wait, hoping that their loved one would return. So it's very emotional, very historical place too.
Well, Louise, thank you so much for being our guide of the 7th arrondissement today.
You're welcome.
Those of you who have read Victor Hugo's novel Les Misérables
Or seen the musical.
will be familiar with the fact that there is a whole city beneath the city, the sewers.
Tours of Paris's city sewage system have been popular since the 1800s, and visitors can still wander on walkways above wastewater today.
Paris's slightly smelly sewer museum is located here in the 7th arrondissement, and 2025 marks its 50th anniversary. When walking around Paris, people tend to look up at the capital's beautiful monuments. But turn your gaze underground and you'll find a mesmerizing network of galleries. Paris's current sewer system dates back to the 19th century. Following deadly cholera outbreaks, Baron Haussmann, the man who remade Paris above ground, hired engineer Eugène Belgrand to improve the city's water and waste systems.
C'est un visionnaire. Il a su dès le départ créer un réseau suffisamment vaste et anticiper sur les millions de mètres cubes qu'il faut traiter, qu'on traite actuellement, quoi. Je veux dire que dès le départ, il a su anticiper sur la grandeur des ouvrages.
Today, tunnels run for hundreds of kilometers. In fact, if you put them all in a line, they'd span over 2,600 kilometers, longer than the distance from Paris to Istanbul. The network below the surface mirrors the one above ground.
Pour se repérer, c'est très simple. Dans chaque égout, en fait, on a en dessous de la rue où est situé l'égout, on a le nom de la rue sur une plaque. Comme ça, les égoutiers, quand ils travaillent, ils ne peuvent pas se perdre.
People have been touring the Paris sewers since the 1867 Paris Exposition started showing off how modern the system was.
Je suis de Tchécoslovaquie.
Tchécoslovaquie, oui. Comment imaginez-vous les égouts? Qu'est-ce que vous voyez? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez à voir?
Pareil.
Que vous croyez qu'il y a une faune dans ces égouts?
Une faune? Il y a tous ces touristes, hein. C'est déjà une faune. Il doit y avoir des rats, des genres de lézards peut-être, je ne sais pas.
Urban legends abound about creatures living in the sewers, including crocodiles.
Dans les égouts? Vraiment?
Turns out that rumor is true and dates back to 1984.
Un crocodile de 70 à 80 cm environ a été trouvé dans l'égout. Nous avons pris une pelle, un balai, et nous avons essayé de stopper sa progression. Et puis nous lui avons fisté la gueule de façon à ce qu'il ne nous pince pas.
The Nile crocodile was named Eleanor and brought to a zoo hundreds of kilometers away in Brittany, where she lived out her days in an enclosure decorated like the Paris sewers.
The sewers are very cool, but we could not wrap up a show about the 7th without telling you at least a little bit about the Eiffel Tower.
Next time you're in town, you might notice that the Iron Lady is looking a little bit more golden these days. It was actually repainted a new color for the first time in over 50 years, just in time for the Olympics.
The Eiffel Tower has been 6 different colors over the years, everything from Venetian red to its former Eiffel Tower brown. The current gold shade was actually the one originally picked out by the man who built it, Gustave Eiffel.
At night, the Eiffel Tower sparkles on the hour, and to mark special occasions, it lights up in different colors. It's been green, pink, red, white, and blue, and even black.
And on that colorful note, we'll say au revoir. Thanks for watching French Connections, and we'll see you next time for a new neighborhood edition in Paris.